Hello, my name is Blake Weiseth, and I'm a PhD student in soil science from the University of Saskatchewan. Two of the major questions from my research are, number one, can beneficial management practices, or BMPs, be used to influence water and nutrient use efficiency across agricultural landscapes? And two, does variation in topography influence how effective they are in achieving their intended goal? Now, the story in the Canadian Prairie Pothole region begins with snow. And so I'll just pan the screen here to show this is March the 7th at Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. You can still see there is lots of snow in the field, despite the fact that farmers will be beginning field operations in just a few short weeks. Now, between now and then, that means that the snow will be melting and the meltwater will be subject to two fates. Either it will stay in place or infiltrate into the soil, or it could be lost from the site in the form of runoff water carrying with it nutrients. Now, BMPs are often recommended to farmers to promote crop uptake and utilization of nutrients, including phosphorus and nitrogen, while limiting losses in runoff water. These BMPs assume that nutrient transport is influenced ultimately by hydrology, but this is in turn influenced by soil characteristics and topography. We know as an example that soil characteristics influence how water infiltrates into the soil, and topography, and particularly slope, influences how water moves laterally across the landscape. However, these factors are largely overlooked in which BMPs are recommended in a given field site and landscape. So therefore, a field site was chosen in the dark brown soil zone of Saskatchewan with 8 hydrologically independent midi watersheds, each having a common management history and representing an area of about 16 hectares. Now, working with the Saskatchewan Water Security Agency, surface ditches were constructed to channel water from each basin to an approved adequate outlet, and flumes were installed at the point where the channels exit each basin for the purpose of measuring runoff water volume and nutrient characteristics. Now, the 3 BMPs of interest in this study include variable rate precision fertilizer application, post-harvest crop residue incorporation, and polycropping of annual forage species. So in addition to measuring runoff water from each of these basins in the field, I'm also doing a simulation study in the lab, and so I'll show you that right now. You can see here I have intact soil slabs removed from the field representing 3 treatments of precision fertilizer application, polycropping of forages. You might be able to see the radish in that second sample, and post-harvest incorporation, melting snow on it and ultimately catching the runoff water from the pails. Now, ultimately, what we're interested in identifying BMPs that promote uptake and use of applied and residual nutrients and limit losses in runoff water.